Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I'm here with my good friend and great supporter, Ali-Reza. We're going to unbox a watch, which is a new addition to my collection. And I couldn't think of anyone better than Ali-Reza. First of all, because he's a good friend and a great supporter, but also because I caught him talk shit about this watch on an occasion, and that was at the time when I had already bought the watch. I don't know, Ali, if you heard this story, but basically on the first day, and really the second time I'm wearing the watch, I take it off, put it on the, put it by the sink, and on my towel, on my face towel. And then, because I'm so absent-minded, trying to think of 10 things at once, but not thinking about anything at all, I get out of the shower, I start shaving, etc. Then I pull the towel right on the marble on the floor, face forward. The good and bad thing is, because the watch has an odd shape, which can be our second clue, it actually ended up just falling on the crystal. The crystal didn't crack. There weren't any scratches or dings. But when I started to set the watch and try to wind it, the crown came out with the stem, which was an interesting sight. But I had to send it immediately into service the minute I received the watch, more or less. So you actually talked about the watch on. I don't know how it came up. It certainly wasn't by my own accord. It may have been one of the auction listings. And there were a few things you liked about it. But a few aspects of the design that you really found foul, especially about the dial. So that's our other clue. Bezels. There's a super sticker.
Sam Marks vibes. Good to see you here as well.
So what's the sticker doing? Oh, unboxing. There's a sticker
it's a
for
little box
unboxing.
already. Why did they make the stickers used to be nice and big? Why is it really small now?
I don't know. I really don't know.
So I was thinking, I had never been asked to specifically come on a show for somebody else's unboxing. And the premise was that I would hate it. And that certainly hasn't happened. Right?
So I'm an odd person. So, I'm weird. I
was thinking, like, past few days, I'm like, there's only one watch I can think of that's irredeemable. And there's no way he would have bought it. And it's the Rolex 1908. For me, that's the only irredeemable watch right now.
I mean, look,
there are many watches that I don't think are good values. I think they have conflicting designs, but there's only one that's irredeemable to me. And that's it. And I'm like, there's no way he got that. So what is...
Well, the thing is, here's the thing. You know me, I'm cheap. You might say frugal in a nicer language, in a more eloquent register, but my perfect record of having never bought a watch at retail. And of course, in the post-pandemic environment, that rings a different way, right? Because a lot of the desirable watches actually trend for more than their retail prices on the secondary market. But that was mostly not the case when I was assembling my collection. And even more lately, I always look for, something a little off the beaten path. I'm not terribly original in my taste, but I do have some quirks and kinks. So this purchase didn't break that track record. But if I were an ambassador like Roger Federer or something, I would have worn the the Perpetual 1908 very proudly. I mean, it's it carries that blessed date where the great Hans Wirstoff registered the name Rolex. To this day, people still have that rule, as if I can't pronounce the brand name, I will never own the watch. Rolex has that beautiful name that rolls off every tongue. That's part of the origin story, right? Apparently, he wanted to come up with a name that would be kind of universal and easily pronounceable in any language. Sam, bonsoir. It's so nice to see you. Swinging Kangaroo.
Swinton, good to see you, man.
Hello, Lord. How you been? I've been great, man. It's nice to see you again. I think I saw you in the chat 1 or 2 times, but it's been a while.
Yeah, he was on hiatus for a little while. It's good to have him back. Now neither of us are particularly like big fan of Paul Pluta, right? I gave him a shot the past few months and it didn't work out real well for me. But Swinton coordinated a tribute to Archie while he was in New York for Watch Time New York.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw it. They actually got billboard placement in Times Square. Like on the big screen.
What happened in Times Square?
Swinton actually coordinated billboard placement on the big screen in Times Square, on one of the big screens in Times Square.
Oh my God.
Like a photo, not collage, like a photo show tribute to Archie. And whether I've got all sorts of issues with Archie with Pluto, right? But he was like, I've never seen somebody look that taken aback happy.
Yeah.
Right. And it really, like, for the community that, they call the Archieverse one way or another, but everybody loved it. Right. Tanzil, and like all the other people who, coordinated. But Swinton made it happen, and it was impressive.
Amazing. Well, I mean, look, I can relate to that for 2 things. I've had my own experience with Archie Luxury and the live stream itself. I don't have any hard feelings at this point, and I was on the right side of history basically on all accounts at any rate. So I'm completely satisfied with it, looking forward. And on the other hand, also Archie is, to me, a kind of idol, right? So it's a different.
He's a strange sort of institution.
That's what I want to say. That's why I jokingly always call them Pontiff, spelled with PH, and still continue to call him that, because in a way there is the institution and there's the man, right? There's the seat and there's the mortal being that occupies it. So Archie, to me, is still a legend, and to see him on that kind of billboard, absolutely, it is something we love to see it, right? As the young people say. I think those young people have already grown old, but anyway. The second one is also, whenever I go to a watch meetup of any sort, with my paltry little, small fry channel, sometimes 1 or 2 people recognize me out of the blue without me telling them something, and they saying like, oh, I must have seen you somewhere. It's like, oh, Lord, or Brando, or this or that. And it's so exhilarating, right? I want to think that I'm above it, but that little bit of recognition, that little bit of quote unquote celebrity gives you a buzz. So I can only imagine how he was floored by it. Happy Halloween. And also, just to respond to Swinging's question, the topic for today is I'm unboxing a watch that's a new addition to my collection, and we'll follow it up with a Watch Talk stream, which is right after. and that will be Sotheby's important watches, which is the two-part auction that's coming up in Geneva. Sorry, go ahead, Ali.
Yeah, so a couple things. The one, my only brush with ever being recognized was really funny because I was in South Florida. I was at a very, very nice resort hotel, and this was almost 2 years ago, probably right when I started fairly regularly streaming with JJ, right? And I was wearing the all gold root beer, which I only had for a few weeks at that point. And I only had it for a few weeks overall. A person recognized it. One of the valets recognized it, and he goes, "Oh, that's a root beer." And then he goes, "I saw a guy wearing that on YouTube," and he starts like, shaking his hands like Gentleman's Hangout, which at the time it was called Gentleman's Hangout, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, like, who else had an all gold root beer other than me on the bloody, show sort of thing. So that was the closest I came to anybody recognizing me from anything. But the other one that you reminded me of is that people who I've been in technology, so I have laptops everywhere, right? But people have always noticed that I have microfiber cloths next to all my laptops. What I do is during the day, I wear whatever watch I wear, right? And I always put a microfiber cloth on the left-hand side of the edge of the keyboard. So when my wrist lays, it just reduces the amount of scratching, right?
Very smart.
Then Florida, and sometimes I'll work outside or whatever, but Florida, it will be heat and humidity. So at some point during the day, I'll invariably take off that watch I'm wearing. I will wipe it down with a microfiber cloth, and I'll leave it wiped in the microfiber cloth, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what you described with pulling the towel. I did that with a 15400. It was my first AP. It's the only AP I bought on the gray. I paid $13,000 for it. So that's how long ago it was at this point. And retail was still 20, I think 4, 23 at the time, right? Yeah. But a Roy Loke under retail was, we haven't heard of that in years, right? So, yeah, oh man, and it flew. And that's how I found out the service center is basically in my backyard. It's in St. Pete, Florida. So it's very close.
It flew all the way to the service center itself.
Once I figured out, like, I was trying to figure out who to call because there's no boutique or anything like that. I actually didn't know. This is how naive I was. I had bought it through Chrono 24. It's also it's one of 2 purchases, Chrono 24. And Chrono 24 was a much smaller site back then. Yeah. And back then, they didn't actually curate listings where the listings were like, anybody could claim authorized dealer. So the person said they were an authorized dealer for AP, and I didn't know that, like, that just wasn't a thing, right? So I contacted them first, and they're like, "Yeah, no, you can't. Like, it's registered this way or that way." I'm like, "What are you talking about?" So it took me like a few days to figure out who to call. But yeah, it was that was not a lot of fun. That was not a lot of fun. But all right, so it's not a 1908.
No, it's not a Rolex period. I mean, I have a good amount of Rolexes. Don't mean to increase them at this point. By the way, Whiskey Reaper, I see you. I actually didn't get scared of your stories. I enjoyed a lot. There was one with the Wheel of Fortune theme with a few letters left out, which had a sexual innuendo. I loved it so much that I had to send it to a very special friend, which may have helped me in a certain way. So I do appreciate you, Whiskey Reaper. You're hooking a fella up already from your stories. So I do appreciate you. Bruce G, I love you. Thank you. You are being too generous. I can only aspire to that kind of image, that kind of esteem you hold me in.
Speaking of aspiring images, you got to tell your buddy Eric Wind that he should request to not be placed next to Sheen O'Malley.
Where's that happening?
So you met with Cards and Chrono, right? C2 with the Roman Gauthier event, right?
Yes, I did.
So
Yeah.
he had his, I guess, unveiling of Barroso, the service that he's launching. It sounds like he's, based on what I understand, he's launching it beta with Artem Tim Wright's crew. I guess OC is like an official spokesperson, like actually did the launch announcement and stuff like that. So they have some sort of formal involvement. And then on the website, they have, I think they had a handful of quotes. I don't know if you would call them endorsements or not, but it was Eric Wynn. Okay, that's a nice one. And then the next one's Ashina Mali. I'm like, oh.
That's look. I mean, that's not. I'll probably mention it to him, but that's, to me, that speaks to the kind of people that Cars and Chrono chooses to associate himself with, rather than the other way around. So
no, that I agree with.
If you roll, if you roll with pigs and shit, you're bound to get a stain.
Unfortunately, that I agree with. I don't blame that on Eric. I don't blame that on Eric. Yeah, it was kind of it was interesting, right? It's not what I expected to see. Like scrolling from Eric Wynn to Shino Mali's not.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is, I think, a charade, right? We have to, again, for me, I'm the little guy, right? It will, no matter what I say, it will be considered, spiteful, jealous, and whatever. But we need to, in the watch space, I think we need to get beyond the fact where we ascribe value to people, and especially to their opinions, based on the number of subscribers they have, which is very easily manipulated anyways. I exposed this already, but I will say it once again. This guy has two channels, right? The one that goes by his own name, which I don't like mentioning in the first place, and eye bashers. So how is it possible that he blasts that eye bashers channel on every platform that he is on, and he has almost 100,000 subscribers on his main channel, and the eye bashers has like my number of subscribers? How's that possible?
I've seen all the analyses of his fake follower account. So I mean, I just think I'm not going to go too far down this pathway, but I think it's very poignant with what's happening in the Middle East right now, that you are very careful with who you tie your business aspirations and personal life to.
Yeah.
Right. In any case, so if I run up just a little bit of controversy, because I know you like to do these unboxings and then you like to do the main show, but I normally, so over on JJ's channel, we have like a threshold of upvotes or super chat or something. So I'm trying to delay it a little bit, right? Also because I'm trying to figure out because I've trashed so many watches, but like even some of the watches that I trashed in the Frank Mueller's, right? They're attractive to me at the end of the day. Surdy dials, they're attractive to me at the end of the day, right? So I'm just trying to figure it out, but I can't. The only irredeemable one for me right now is the 1908. Only one.
Well, again, of course, I'm trying to be a little playful. I don't think this watch will be irredeemable to you, but I remember that, you genuinely didn't like one or two things about it. Like it was, it grated on you, and you're a man who speaks his mind, and you don't mince your words when you don't like something. So you did.
But I'm also irrelevant, so that's helpful. So how about this? Have you ever put a poll with like how many? I don't know. I've never done a YouTube poll. How many objects can you put in YouTube poll?
For polls, four.
You want to give the audience an opportunity to guess?
Yes, I think they should start trying to guess. It's not, again, we gave two clues which were a little too obscure, right? The unique shape, the fact that you talked a little bit of shit about it on an occasion. I guess I can say, we already said it's not Rolex. I can say it's not an unknown name, but it's not a legacy brand either.
So unique shape would, I mean, in my head, that means one of the Tonneaus or one of the Black Mirror type shapes,
Black
or
Mirror.
even like a millinery, an oval.
Black Mirror. What does that mean? Black Mirror type
Well,
shape?
you know
Like
what? I actually don't
futuristic?
know what it's. I don't know what it's called in English. In my head, it's what we refer to in Farsi. It's like a direct translation. It's a rectangle that's flared at the corners.
Ah,
So it's just that's the translation directly in my head from Farsi.
yeah. Like Roger Dubuis has a few pieces like that. Cartier has a watch like that. I don't even know what Cartier's model is called, but I think Roger Dubuis is called King Square or something like that.
Yeah. So Cuervo does that, right? As well. There's a couple of them that do that. So that's for me, those are unique shapes. The millinery, the oval type shape, the
Mhm.
horizontal oval type shape's a unique shape. So I don't know. All right. Now, I wouldn't ever actually call you cheap. Frugal, first of all, I actually understand why you're frugal because you have certain dreams and aspirations. So you're also responsible and you live in California. Um,
Yes, I pay
so
tax.
I'm sorry.
I pay tax.
Yeah. The I had a horrible run-in with a CFTB.
Mm.
There was a minor scandal in the tech sector. They had decided for the tech sector to treat us the same way they treat professional athletes, which is they send you a tax bill for like the games you play in California. So CFTB was sending tax bills for like conferences you attended in California. It was like the strangest bloody thing. Um, oh my God, Sam Marks 5, if he has a Jean Lucogi, if it's a true second, yeah, I'm not, there's no way I disliked that.
So a lot of great guesses. There was a Frank Muller Vanguard. Unfortunately, not. I do actually like Frank Muller, not necessarily their particular typography and the style of their numerals, even though I do love Arabic numerals. It's a little too much for me, but maybe we are getting there in a little sense. Universal Genève or Hoya. I am going to add a Hoya chronograph at some point to the collection. I do have my tri-compacts. I do want to add a pole router, but that's not it either. Sam, Cartier Crash, I kind of love the hype of it, but it's really not my style. And honestly, if I were unboxing a Cartier Crash, I'm I know I'm gonna retire soon, but I'm not that rich. But yeah, I would have loved the JLC Geophysique True Second as well. Daniel Roth, Gérald Charles, that's actually a very divisive brand. But do you like the Gerald Charles or Gérald
Gerald
Charles
Charles,
brand?
I actually do, and I actually like most of Frank Mueller's work as well, which is odd because I don't know if it's odd, but like Richard Mille, I absolutely despise. Right. So I really do like quite a bit of Gerard Charles and I like quite a bit of Frank Mueller's work. I just do.
Yeah, the Maestro, I think, is just a stunning case shape. I think I hate the date, as you know. 6 o'clock placement is a little better, but I love this, stepped bezel, kind of a sculptural shape of a watch, and it is Gérard Janta design. I
One of
think,
the reasons I like this case design and one of the reasons I like some of the Frank Mueller designs, right? The CX type style designs is because they remind me of an architectural view of old what would you call it? Art Deco, like British um, homes. I mean, really, like small homes. God, look at that. I love that. I love that shape.
yeah, from the profile especially, right?
Yeah.
There's such an interesting symmetry to it. The whole stacked look. it's a beautiful watch, and I think it really comes into its own with these kinds of complications and bells and whistles. It's a beautiful piece.
We have a nice super chat from Captain Subby.
Captain Sabi, member of the channel, $4.99. Great Richard Lange piece posted on IG today. Such an elegant piece that virtually no one talks about. Hey, that's my specialty, right? I try to talk about watches that no one talks about, and I posted that also, because I know some people have very strong opinions on Lange and against Lange sometimes because of their particular allocation practices in the boutiques. To be honest, they have always treated me well. They have always been very straightforward. They have always told me what pieces are inaccessible for a first-time buyer. So they're very straightforward, at least, which I appreciate. But for those who are actually interested in building a kind of purchase history in a Lange boutique, and they're not Lange One guys, people. I think these two pieces offer interesting points of entry into the A. Lange & Söhne collection. They are cheaper, both of them, than a Lange One at retail, and just about the same money you would pay for a Lange One on the secondary market, depending on which generation you are buying and what kind of set and condition you're looking for. The copper blue is quite popular in and of itself on its own right. I think it's a little too flashy for me. This might be outrageous to some, but I consider it even more flashy than like a gem set dial. If this was just a matte blue with baguette diamonds on the dial, I think it would be a much more muted watch. If you see it here, for example, I mean, it just sparkles, right? Which you might love or hate, depending on what you're expecting from a watch. But I love the fact that it's a two-hander. It just gives kind of the full play to that dial. And it's a beautiful watch, and it is something you can get under 30K at retail, which is, again, with the prices that have been so inflated now, somehow seems okay, although it shouldn't be. The Richard Lange is a boutique exclusive. They also have it in pink gold with matching hands. This one has that solid silver argenté dial, kind of sterling silver, given a finish that's like silvery white and with heat blued hands. Very simple dial, center sweep seconds, beautiful Roman numerals, including the watchmaker's 4. And that's also a slightly big watch for a Lange, 40.5, if I'm not mistaken. So it's very legible, very present, kind of a modern contemporary wristwatch in terms of its proportions, but very conservative in its design. Whereas the copper blue is maybe, I guess you can say it's like Lange's answer to the Chronomètre Bleu, right? Kind of a flashy, youthful dress watch that has a little bit of oomph on the face of it.
Cap passed on the Aventurine dial? You were offered what? See, that takes stones to pass on it.
Oof. Sam Arcs 5 says, Roger Dubuis, Sympathie Chronograph Perpetual Calendar by Retrograde. This is actually a watch that I was looking at, not that I have that kind of budget right now.
Who has that kind of budget?
No, actually, I mean, for for that mouthful of specifications, it's something you can get, I think, around, I want to say
It
like
retails six figures.
50K.
No.
On the secondary market, I think it is 50K.
Wow.
Let me see.
Cat passed on the luxury bazaar. Wow. Okay.
Let me see. I thought I had. No, that's not the by retrograde.
We got 29 people watching, 15 upvotes. Can we work on those upvotes, folks?
Thank you so much, Ali. I got confused. I mean, this is under 40, but I was looking at this one, which is a by retrograde perpetual calendar, not the chronograph. But it's a beautiful, beautiful case shape as well. Very unique.
Watch is too classy for Ali-Reza for 500, Alex.
I don't know. I would say that, but it's not exactly your style either. I can see that. You know, I like these kinds of in-between shapes. It's always been said that Roger Dubuis got inspired by his time in Longines in coming up with the Sympathie case shape, because they did have this sort of Art Deco vibe piece. It's like, it's neither round nor square, you know, with officer style screw through lugs. I love the case shape. The time only is brilliant as well. But the perpetual calendar is just you know, a masterpiece. And you know, as much as I appreciate the kind of outrageous direction they have gone after the Richemont acquisition, that's certainly not me. I like this particular era where Roger Dubuis is trying to out Patek. You know, like, I am the Genevan watchmaker. You know, you guys are passé. Hand me the baton now. It didn't quite work in the way he wanted, but beautiful. Bruce G says, all Gérard Charles are that odd Art Nouveau shape. Precisely. Sam Ark says, I'm taking some wild stabs here. Captain reminds everyone to upvote. Kim this, Kim that. Blue Saxonia is my favorite. It's a pretty nice watch. Again, not my style, but Captain agrees with me. I passed on the Aventurine, too flashy for me. I think, here's the thing, not to be pedantic, but the actual Aventurine stone dials are a little more muted. The way that Lange does it with that special crystallization process with the copper is in fact flashier, is much less muted than the semi-precious stone. So
I saw, speaking of Aventurine and flashy dolls, so I was at Hermes Boutique, and I'm interested in each revision of the H08. Right? I think that it's actually a fine watch, good movement. I know that Nico recently, you know, he panned on Hermes again. I don't think it's a great value, but I think for a fashion watch, it's actually quite good, right?
Actually, on the secondary market, I would contest that statement, Ali. I think
it's a good value on the secondary, absolutely.
Yeah, you can get those watches for 3.5, at most 4.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the secondary market, and you know, they come kind of like a fashion watch should, and I'm not necessarily using it as a derogatory term now. They come in all kinds of different flavors, right? You know, different metals as well, different kinds of finishes. There's
I was looking at the rose gold. I posted the rose gold actually on my IG that unfortunately I can't get into my own IG right now, courtesy of some false reports. But they had, and I couldn't get a good picture of it, they had a new line, which I guess had been released that day, and they were unboxing them to put in the display case, of ladies' watches where they had Adventurine, Duomite, and I want to say titanium. It was like 3 material dial
Mm-hmm.
where they had the Hermes chain, the horse bit type chain, with one piece in a Venturi and one piece in Dolomite. It was phenomenal looking. I had not seen a dial that was with stones that looked that good ever. It was phenomenal.
I mean, Hermes does that kind of weirdo shit all the time. I think at Watches and Wonders, they had introduced one that had horsehair on the dial.
Yeah.
It was, they're crazy, and they are certainly trying to do something that's a little different.
So Chanel, they fancy it avant-garde. I don't know that it is, but I am impressed with what they do with some of the material. Like Chanel's work with what they call their beige gold, right? Their platinum gold. It's pretty nice. But yeah, it was so you guys stopped with guessing, right? So he said it's a fairly inexpensive watch. It's a frugal purchase. It's an odd shape.
Yeah.
Right.
I think there is actually one of them guessed the brand right. I can say that, but I'm not
Universal de Genève
just yet.
Apes, it has to be Universal de Genève then.
Apes, 199 pounds sterling. Ali tried on Roman Gautier Titanium C Edition 4. I saw Edition 5 on the man's wrist. What a beautiful dial. I'm not gonna say more because they are still about to reveal it. This is the one that I really love by Chanel. Obviously, it's their men's watch still. They haven't really expanded the line. And the other reason I love Chanel is because they support Romain Gautier, certainly. But the Superleggera version, which actually has a ceramic case, it's also a little bit sportier in the design and execution of the dial, kind of a pseudo dashboard look. And you guys know my love for jump hour watches, so this is something that I really adore. I think it's a little too large for me, but we also know that the Calibre 1, Caliber 1 was something that Romain Gautier collaborated on as well. So there's that. The architecture certainly would remind you in terms of the arrangement of the gear train of a Romain Gautier watch.
You just reminded me, I didn't, so first of all, new members, there is a back catalog of like point member videos. We've talked about it before. They cover either brands or complications or history, but it's a fairly extensive back catalog now. He had, young Brando had added, I think it was like you were adding 3 videos a week or 3 videos a month or something, but it's a big catalog now. Mm-hmm. It's available to members. But I had also, I had super chatted you, or not super chatted you, thanked you to take a look at the new SB08, the Sartori, the jump hour jumping. Man, first of all, thank you for actually taking a look at it and providing your commentary. But I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
Me too, and I love the fact that they are expanding the brand in those new directions too. Obviously, they had to come up with an integrated bracelet design, which I think is a fine watch. Not the most original design, but this one is really exciting. The SB08, which is going to be the jump hour tourbillon, and with a remontoire to operate the jump of the minutes as well. That's going to be the movement, and the design is going to be something. So this is going to be the 3 discs for the hour and the 2-digit minutes. And finally, there were a few sketches. Where are those? Where
I think the sketches were on here. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be, I think, closest to this. And actually, because this is the native bespoke watch, right? You know, they don't have anything in stock.
Yeah.
You choose basically just about everything about the watch as you are ordering it. And you know, one of the strongest arguments I think for a jump hour watch for a brand like Sartori Piguet is because you get this huge canvas, right? You can choose a semi-precious stone dial. You can choose, you know, semi-precious stone for a kind of outer track and, like, you know, guilloche at the center. Let your imagination run wild, and they have all the options. And you know, for a watch like that you dream up from scratch, more or less, they do have a decent pricing as well. So I wonder what the pricing is going to be like for this watch, because so far they haven't really revealed anything.
It's a hell of a gamble, right, for him to even try this, because a bespoke watch under 10 grand with the notable and well-deserved reputation they have is an easy business model to keep going, right?
Mm.
But jump hour, jump minute, tourbillon, that's not 10 grand.
Yeah,
Right.
jump hour, jump minute as well, right? You know, so
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
that. You have 3 wheels that you got to operate for a very power hungry complication. So Madman, thank you for joining in as a member, and Ali, again, thank you so much for your support, gifting 10 memberships. Welcome new members: Samark's Vibe, Jake Brooks, Frank and Honest, Goldfinger 0808 number 1, G Gadwa, Robert Cairns, Johnson, ACD, Canuck Watch Collector, and Mr. Ghost. Thank you. It's a Mickey Mouse watch. Could be, but no, I'm not a big fan of Disney, unfortunately.
I can't let go of Disney. I'm not a fan of the company right now, but man, Disney's still a hell of a lot of fun for me to go to, even the 46-year-old man.
Yeah, I mean, look, you know, if you live in Florida and California, especially, as long as it doesn't become part of your personality, I think I can certainly understand the charm.
Yeah. That's God. So I'm looking forward to this one. I'm getting really antsy about buying a couple of other watches. Like I'm not sure I'm going to be able to hold on to my wallet much longer while I wait for the Gronefeld and the 2 Roman Gauthiers.
And by the way, what are you thinking still about the titanium one? Are you still willing to cede your place if it gets delivered and you decide not to keep it, or
yeah, absolutely. I have no issues with that. Right? It's we have an informal agreement on that as well. If they don't, I haven't even asked them, right? Because it's so a ways off in the future. So yeah, I intend to take delivery, and if somebody wants it at cost, they can have it at cost. I highly doubt I'll keep both. I mean, I think it would be extremely unlikely that I would keep both. But yeah, I mean, man, I'm sitting on the same watches now for the longest period of time of me sitting on the same watches in 15 years, maybe. Right. And it's killing me, man. It's killing me. Like at first I was like, yeah, this is discipline and this is where I'm at. I'm a mature collector. And then at a certain point, it's like, no, I'm a fucking child. Like I start eating Reese's Pieces, and then I start moving to Reese's peanut butter cups. I start packing on extra pounds. It's like I better buy a watch before I kill myself with food.
I think that's a good plan in general. And I honestly, Ali, I do like the direction you're heading, because ultimately I know how much you like AP, and because I share some of that love, maybe at a different register or pitch myself, I can certainly see the appeal. You know, you could be the kind of guy who could just pile on different APs. Not that it's easy to get the kind of pieces that you want, like the double balance open work, for example. It's not really easy to get an allocation on that. But I could see you going in that direction. I could see you just, going into, I know you don't like Rolex, but or Patek, but I could see you going into kind of Vacheron and expanding it in some way. I know you would actually have probably a Comte de Vache if it were offered in a bigger size.
Yeah. Corne de Vache, if it was a little bit bigger, I would have. I have the dual time, the silver dial dual time.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the watches that's in the safe that will be moving out of the collection for sure at the right time. Vacheron's prices are horrific right now, so I'm gonna wait it out a little bit. I do have a new day date, a platinum day date, black dial baguette. It turns out I didn't know this. So Rolex's standard link size, I guess, is 8 inches, like bracelet size, on their
Mm-hmm.
still sport watches. So I usually need one link, right? It turns out in the precious metal, it's not that. So with
Smaller.
the much smaller.
Okay.
So I'm waiting for the additional links for the day date, and the day date's
How
definitely
many?
placeholder.
2, 3?
Uh,
How many additional links?
I think it was 7.25 maybe, and I need it to be 8.5 at least.
Wow, you're basically paying for a new watch just for the additional links.
It's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So that's a placeholder, right? I'm gonna move the slate dial 15500 out, and I may move my 15720 out because I was given an opportunity to pick up the limited white gold 15720. So I may just swap that out.
That's the offshore diver, of course.
Yeah, the offshore diver, and that would be a trade, right? Just mix things up a little bit as I'm consolidating. I'm going to give my daughter the Hana Basara in December.
Let me see. By the way, cool. Speaking of watches we hate, I hate G-Shocks, but
Yeah.
I love you, so we'll tolerate that.
Yeah. So I'm the 3 in the G guy, so I obviously like my G-Shocks.
And speaking of your previous root beer, I am wearing my root beer, 1675 3 nipple dial,
the OG,
with that faded bronze insert. I also have the two-tone or bicolor version too, but I kind of feel when I put it on a leather strap, the single color bezel looks a little better. On the two-tone bracelet, on the two-tone Jubilee, jingly jangly, I would like to switch to the true color back. Should we? Oh, I wanted to respond to the captain before we go to the unboxing. Tempted to get a 1921, which is a watch that I also love. And having gained a few pounds myself, I can actually pull it off because the full-sized one was just a tad too big for me. Now I grew into it, so that can be an option. But what I really like actually is the Batman 6694, which is such a unique shape, and it's a royal chronometer as well. It's one of, it's in the tradition of these beautiful pocket watches they used to do, as part of their heritage, chronometer standard pieces that they would fit out with the same kind of movements that they used to submit to competitions. And they carried that on into watches. And this watch is called Batman because the case shape makes it look not like a vintage dress watch, but like a contraption that belongs to the Batman's utility belt, so to speak. Let me pull up that piece. This has to be part of my collection at some point, not just yet. This is it.
When was this discontinued?
Well, I don't know. It's one of the things they should, I think, bring into the historique collection. I think something like this, maybe if they eliminated the date, could be an interesting dress watch option for, for specifically that kind of
That's a
collection.
beautiful design.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Vacheron's archive is not short of beautiful designs. Let's put it like that. They're pretty good.
Vacheron and AP's archives have ridiculously beautiful designs. The GB Wool actually, he asked a question. So REG,
no,
right?
I have to correct this. I did not say that. I just said the overseas is too much because it's cross upon cross upon cross. To me, it's not my aesthetic, but it is the brand symbol. And I respect that. I respect the brand a great deal. And, for them to have it on the dial is not offensive to me.
A few years ago, REG mentioned that to me. And it was, it was the first time I had, it even occurred to me because I've never, to me, the Maltese cross has meant Vacheron to me longer than it's meant anything else.
Yeah, that's
so because Vacheron's been one of the brands that I've been jonesing after since I was very young, for 30 years now. So it's I sadly pushed that association out of my head.
Yeah, look, again, I don't take it too seriously. At the end of the day, I love Switzerland. I love a lot of these Scandinavian countries, which basically have a cross for their flag. It's not my problem. It's their symbol. It's not offensive to me on that regard. The overseas is just, I think it's taking things to a level where it's too much for me. Again, it's not, I don't have such strong feelings about it.
It's actually interesting you say that because obviously I have the dual line, which has the bracelet, and the bracelet has the integrated crosses, and the crosses are all over the moon and stuff like that. And it didn't occur to me until I had it on my wrist that it's too much. Right? It's just it became I almost want to say it's like conceptually like a steampunk chainmail. Like it's just way too repetitive.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
So I threw on the rubber strap for that reason, because with the bracelet, it just looked way too repetitive. I admire the fact that they pulled it off. It's not for me. I like this case design, man.
Yeah. So shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it indeed. I also
somebody got the brand, so it's got to be Universal Genève. They got the brand. It's got to be that.
No, it's not Universal. Although Universal has some unique case shapes in the past. Okay, I'm obsessed with leather straps. I took this one off, which is the one it came on with. You can already see the shape on the clasp. We are getting there. And you can actually see, I also have an extra black strap, which won't mean anything. The box is shaped like the watch as well, which is a beautiful, beautiful box, by the way.
That's a beautiful burl wood.
Yeah, it's an amazing box. It's still there.
Uh-oh, it is a Daniel Roth.
It's still there. Do you like it, Ali? How do you like the dial?
This was so. I don't like it for compared to other Roth pieces. It's a nice bloody watch. Holy crap! Look at that depth of that color.
Yeah, the dial is actually, it registers as pretty dark, but when the light hits it, actually, it's quite an electric blue, kind of
Yeah,
like
that's really nice.
the Yves Klein. I
No,
would
no,
say
no,
it's
no.
an Yves Klein blue.
Keep going full screen for a little while. You got to keep going full screen for a
Of
little
course.
while.
I wanted to see your face as well, man.
You can see my face. Look, you're on stream mode. You can see my face.
I know. So, see if we can get
the case is really the case shape. Yeah, that's a lot nicer when you're rotating it than the pictures on the listings.
So that Daniel Roth actually has, of course, this famous ellipse or curvex or double ellipse case shape. But if you go through the catalog, there are a few different iterations. I do love the sculptural one, but I also love this curved version, which is very ergonomical and sits on the wrist really well. And I've talked about this complication
Look
before.
at that color.
This is something that he adapted from George Daniels. It's a pocket watch that is presented on his watchmaking book, and that one, George Daniels's version, jumps from 1 to 1. This jumps from 6 to 6, which actually I really like, because it's kind of happy hour, right? It's like the end of day, day and night kind of thing as well. Yeah, let me just adjust the time. So, what do you think? You are still a little.
No, I mean, I genuinely do like it. I don't like the use of space, the size of and the font of the numerals and the use of space is too crammed. I'm not a fan of that, and I'm not a fan of the relative hand lengths. But I have never seen the dial look like that before. That dial color is significantly better. I've obviously never seen it in person. Still haven't seen it in person. This is the first, live view of what I'm seeing. That is surprisingly nicer than I thought.
It's in person, Ali. It's even better. It's really, it's like the Yves Klein Royal Oak dials you see, except this is like.
So what they did is they neglect the AR intentionally, like Vacheron does on the Blue Overseas, to give it that extra flair. Yeah, look at that, man. That's just pretty. You can't not like
that. So here's the thing. When Daniel Roth was a quote-unquote true independent, he made classic versions of these watches with Roman numerals on the dials, which I'm sure Ali would like even more.
Yeah.
And the subdial was for the seconds in his original design. I'll pull up one of those as well. And you will see also how the case shape differs on those two, which is
what's the lug to lug?
The lug to lug, I have no clue. But it's a great fit on my puny little wrist. I think the diameter is probably 35, but 35 by what exactly? I don't even know that. And thank you for all the congratulations. So,
son of a gun.
Basically,
damn it.
The great thing about it again is the retrograde hands, which, as you guys know, I love these odd complications. It jumps from 6 to 6 at 6 o'clock twice a day, basically. And the oversized subdial is for date. It's like a pointer date. And the hour hand never crosses into that subdial due to the complication.
I'm sorry. So, hold on, I have to share my screen.
Please, and we can do that. And Libro Grande, you guessed it. You had it right all along. It was a Daniel Roth. Yes.
Who the hell took this picture?
What do you mean?
Who the hell took this picture?
I don't know. Why are you angry about it?
Well, why? Of course I didn't like the watch.
Ah.
Look at this picture. It's terrible in comparison to what you have on your wrist.
Yeah, but the ergonomics of it do really help. I mean, it sits very nice on the wrist.
No, so yeah, but so here's the problem. Like, so I don't remember which picture I saw, but if you look at this and you see the vertical line in the blue, which is like they focused in on it, and it doesn't show the blue color properly, right? Then the numbers, which I still think are too crowded. I'm not a big fan of that font. The contrast of the numbers, the red accents and the blue looks terrible on this. And you can't see the case shape being curved at all in the damn pictures.
Yeah. Look, I'll give them a break on the dial, because it is really hard to capture with all the unique shades that you can get from it. It's really, because of that particular guilloche decoration as well, it really is like some of the paintings that Yves Klein did, some of the monochromatic paintings that you did. It has a certain texture that you won't be impressed if you see it on a computer screen. Like,
all right, I'm going to tell you, I'm going to disagree with you here. This is why. Have you ever seen the auction site Whatnot?
No.
Okay, so Whatnot is a live auction site, right? People run streams and they do live auctions, and it's very popular on Whatnot for people to, like, vinyl toys like I have or anything like that. They have little turntables. They're USB powered. They use their phone camera. They put the turntable. They put something on the turntable and it rotates slowly. I'm sorry, if you have a watch like that, throw it on a turntable and rotate it slowly and post a bloody video.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, I stand by it. If you tell me to judge that watch based on purely the pictures, it looks like trash. You showed it to me, and I couldn't even remember what bloody watch I was criticizing. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that font, but it's a beautiful bloody watch. Now, that's sexy.
Yeah, if I could pay 10 times as much, that would be the one to get.
Engineering. Gotta love it.
Yeah. And
all right. So what's the state of the collection now?
So the state of the collection is, I have the usual suspects, which are my Rolexes. So the 5513 no date sub, my root beer 1675-3 nipple dial two-tone GMT master. I have 16570, my Polar Explorer 2, which is right from around 2000. So solid end links. That's my most modern Rolex, basically. I have the late 70s silver linen dial 16014 date just, fluted bezel, Jubilee bracelet. And I have 16710 Coke GMT Master 2. That's also late 90s, so still tritium on the dial with a slight eggshell patina on it, which I absolutely adore. And then I have my Breguet Type 20 from the first revival, the 3800 Aéronaval, no date. I have my JLC Reverso Grand Date, the 8-day power reserve, so on and so forth. I have my Universal Genève Tri-Compacts, 40s
Like that
with the
watch.
early. Yeah, I love it too.
It's a beautiful watch.
Caliber 287, and then I have my Lemania CH27 chronograph, pink gold, dime size.
But it might be the most historically, maybe not, but it's in your top 2 or 3 most historically relevant non-Rolex piece.
I think so. I adore that too. Whenever I like dressing up a little bit. So when I put on the right sports jacket, I do reach out for that watch, and it's it wouldn't raise an eyebrow. It kind of looks like something that once belonged to your grandfather, not my grandfather in this instance, but someone's grandfather for sure. And it's it's a historic movement, of course, as you said. So it's pretty significant that you have that as a base. And a vintage chronograph is actually, when it's by compacts, it's a beautiful dress watch. It's a very clean dial, no dates. It can certainly go with a dinner jacket, as it goes with something, like a business casual attire as well. I love that watch too. So hopefully I will. I was trying to. You are near Jax, right?
I'm sorry.
You are near Jacksonville.
Almost 3 hours away.
Okay. Well, I am planning a trip to Florida, so hopefully, if I can get that together, and if I come anywhere close to you, I'll make sure to wear.
Fortunately, other than the one section of the Panhandle, anything's a fairly straight shot. Obviously, it's a long state. So hold on though, we're not done though, because I can go put on the shamal and I can come back. It's Halloween, so I could be Hamas. We can have a debate. Congratulations! It is a beautiful watch, man.
Thank you, Robert. I mean, shall we switch to the Watch Talk stream?
So I'm curious, why do you break the stream up that way?
Because I want this for posterity. Maybe people will watch it.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
In a 1 hour, a little better. I'll send the StreamYard link as well. So that's the YouTube link for the Watch Talk stream that we are transitioning to. And if any of you wants to come to the panel, which you absolutely should. Jake Brooks, thank you. $9.99, member of the channel. Nice, Daniel Roth. And another unbox, another great unbox, I want to say, patting myself on the back.
It's a good unbox. Anytime somebody says another unbox, I laugh because I like the way Watch Nicholas says it. And another unbox, and another unbox, and another unbox.
Yeah, is that a Watch Nicholas term? Watch Nick term?
Yeah, I think it's a play on what's that music? This famous song that's escaping me right now. And another one bites the dust, Queen. Another one bites the dust. So, and another unbox. So it cracks me up. I hear his voice. So all right, I will. Thank you everybody for the super chats and joining us. Thank you, Brando, for trolling me a little bit. It was a good troll. I appreciate it. It was a beautiful watch. I stand up my earlier comments. The pictures are trash.
No,
I'll see you over on the.
In person, you might like it a little more, but I do.
I like it. What you showed, I like. I'm not the font and the size is too cluttered for me. That it just is. But the fact that the red accents are much more subtle, and I guess because they just didn't put AR on it, the dial plays that way. Especially Florida Man, right? Florida Man loves dials that play in the sun. Right. So it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
And also, for me, this watch does come, with a silver dial, which looks fine. I mean, this particular version of it, it comes with a black dial. That's a little boring for this style, but with a colorful dial, with the colorful dials they have, I think that quirky font actually fits it. But hey, you know, look, I love the original Roman numeral version. I really adore it. Shall we, with that, transition into the next?
I will join you there in a few minutes. I'm going to go take a bit of a break. I will be back though. It's past midnight here, so I'm going to go charge up with a little bit more of a drink.
Perfect. Ali, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. Thank you. I'll be back, or on the other stream.
So thank you, Ali, for joining me. Thank you for the gift memberships. Thank you, everyone who's sent super chats and super stickers. Basil's Bezels, Swinging Kangaroo, Captain, AIPZ, Madman, who joined in as a new member himself, and the 10 new members that I welcome, thanks to Ali, and of course, the great Jake Brooks. Thank you so much. I've sent the links, guys, the YouTube link and the StreamYard link. So I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you for helping me unbox. I expect to see all of you in the next one. All right.